Good morning, Rabbi Boisai. Lilu Nishmas versus Mordechai. Hayoim arboim yoim. Shem chamisha shavuos v'chamisha yomim boimer loimer. Mamash shkorim v'chzavim. Reminds me of Chicago when I was saying like different days and different things. Well, yishkoyach everybody for coming. We have like 2 minyanim worth of people here, and it's beautiful. It's a random day at a random time. We are, Gary, Reb Gershon Ben Moshe and myself are on the way to New York. As soon as Shir is over, I need to pack, get in a taxi and go to the airport. So Yishkoyach coming out on such a short notice. I just heard that my attorney that I used many deals, Rabbi Avram Reifer was nifter in Chicago. So that's one tzara. I received probably 5-6 different emails from different people from the New York area. There was a sign up, Levais Hameis, and if you recall, there was a Yid that used to work for the Transit Authority, and he's watching the shir in the booth. He sent us an email, and I showed the email. So here he is. He used to watch the shir every single day in the Munkacher Shtibel or something, and he was nifter without any children, without what? Yeah, that's the old uncle. But not him. You're mixing up stories. Rabbi Avram Reifer, I don't have a picture. Rabbi Avram Reifer was my attorney in Chicago, a very, very famous attorney, and he was nifter today. This is Reb Ruvain Zev Lieberman. Ben Reb Rafal, he didn't leave over any children or anything in the Lubai. So I'm showing it because many people were concerned and sent it in, and so here it is. Rabbi said because we're pressed for time, so no emails. The koil is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The Masechta by Eli Stefansky, Lilu Nishmas, Menachem Toporowitz, Menachem Mendel, Olav Hashem, Yeblach, Yehושע Toporowitz, Lilu Nishmas, the Parasach Chodesh, Chaya Bas Yosef, Parasach Chodesh, Zechrya ben Moshe, Parasach Chodesh, Lilu Nishmas, Eliyahu ben Yosef Menachem Mendel, Parasach Yoim. Oh, we have a Parasach Yoim, believe it or not, even though there was no time today. Usually they come in later. Elliott, Polatoff. Eli Nishmas, my father, Harav, Pesach, Mordechai, Ben, Aharon, Eli and Marni Polatoff.
What's funny is that one came in at 2 o'clock in the morning for today's stuff. So I pushed off to this stuff.
Okay, so it kind of works. I don't know if that's what they wanted, but okay, it'll work. For complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi Ben Leo. Rabbi said we're holding 9 lines from the bottom of Amud Beis. Getting close to the end of the Masech, only 2 daf left. Very, very large daf, Magat kind of style. We're holding Misharabu Matile Milai Al Bali Batim. So you're going through all these different things that when this started and that started, different things finished. Misharabu Matile Milai Al Bali Batim. When the judges would give over their merchandise to the businessmen to take care of the merchandise, so obviously the judges are going to find favoritism with those businessmen that helped them out. Rabba ha-shoicha, that's bribery, v'atoyas mishpat, and therefore the judgment would be skewed in that direction. Upaska toiva, and no longer will there be a good. Mishrabba mikablone toivascha, machzikeri toivascha. When the judges said straight out, I have a tremendous hakar satoiv ti rebasher. Thank you so much for everything that you do for me. And that's straight out bribery. Rabu shayosh ben of Yasa, then everybody does whatever they want, and you lose the din and the mishpat. Shvalim hugbuhu, the ones that belong down there, they're not such great people, were brought way up high. V'agvayim hushpalu, and those who belong in the top, they're abanim, and they don't have so much money, were put down. Umalchusa, Ozla, V'novla, and the kingdom goes and deteriorates. Mishrabu Tzari Ayin, the stingy people, there's a lot of them, the Torfit Teref, and they grab whatever they can. Rabu Mamte Alei, V'koivtzi Yadayim Elahalvos. So, people had hard, tough hearts, and they stopped lending money. I could relate a little bit. It's hard to lend money, especially when people have a minhag not to pay back. The Chavetz Chaim, I'll just say one thing, and this doesn't apply to me. It does, but I don't like it so much. Chofetz Chaim says, when a guy comes to you and borrows money, then you should think to yourself what he went through. How he spoke to his family. He said, listen, we don't have a lot to eat, but I'm going to go to the Gvir, and I'm going to get money from him, hopefully. And maybe if I say it this way, I'll get him that, and then I'll come right when he comes out of Mincha, and I'll grab him, and he has a whole plan in his head. And finally the family, no, when are you going? I'm going tomorrow. He pushes it off a little bit, he goes the next day. And finally comes to the Gvir. After weeks of discussion, the Gvir says, get out of here. I had terrible experiences in the past, I'm not lending you money. Chofetz Chaim says, think about it. It's a terrible thing, and it's not good to not lend money. He pen. It says in the pasuk, where's the pasuk? Right over here. Pen and it says at the end, you're not going to give him, you're not going to lend him. He's going to call out to Hashem. You'll have a sin. When these women would walk in the street with their necks extended, and they wink to the bacharim, in other words, they were there for his nose. So the husbands, of course, suspected them. So there's a lot of women coming to the Beis HaMikdash and drinking the Mei Sotah, El Shapasku. But that was stopped. As we saw, that once the husband is also guilty, then the water doesn't work. Not only the husband, what if the children, what if the daughter-in-law? So there's no more Ma'amar. When people accept the gifts are geschmack, but they come with a price. The days are less. The famous Vilna Gaon, we're not going to get into it. If somebody gives you a gift, according to the Vilna Gaon, you owe him something back. It's not that he gave you a gift and you mamish owe him something. That gift. Misharabu zechuchi alev. The Talmidim who have gaiva, rabu machloikis b'Yisrael. Explains Rashi that when a person has gaiva, then he doesn't listen well to his Rebbe. He thinks he knows it all. He's a know-it-all. I'm chashav myself. I don't need him. And that causes you not to know the halacha well, and therefore, not knowing the halacha well causes machloikis in Klal Yisrael. A lot of Talmidim from Hillel and Shammai who didn't serve the Rebbe enough, Rabbi Machlokes B'Yisrael, they didn't know their stuff. And as Torah Kishtei Torahs, and it came out there's so many Machlokes like there's two Torahs. Rabbi Makabel tzedakah and Agoyim. There's an isser to take tzedakah from a guy because it gives them schusim. Hoy Yisrael l'mala ve'im l'mata. Yisrael would be on top and they on the bottom. Of course, this is just a lashon naki. It's supposed to be the opposite. Yisrael l'fanim ve'im l'achar. And Lo Yaleinu Yisrael goes to the back. Mishameis Yosef ben Yezer. So once the Yosef ben Yezer from the Zugas is nifter, no more Eshkoilis. My Eshkoilis, Shmuel, Isha Hakol Boy. They were the last that had everything. So as we spoke, it says in the pasuk, you're done with it's 2 times 3. Year 1, 2, 3. Then it starts over. 4, 5, 6. So if you look over here in the pasuk, I just highlighted it. You have Vinosata Levi, that's Meiser Rishon, that goes to the Meiser, to the Levi. Lager, Layosam Almana, what do we give a ger and a Yosam Almana? We give him Meiser Ani. So I finished with the Meiser Ani. I finished the Meiser that I give to the Levi. V'achlu b'sha'arecha, what do you eat in Yerushalayim? Meiser Sheni. So here the pasuk tells you all the things. And then the pasuk Yigimon says, V'marta l'fnei Hashem lekecha. So it says, and then you make a vidui. You say, Takadosh Baruch Hu, I did everything you told me. Everything you commanded me. They took that out. Don't say it anymore. Why? We don't do it anymore. We don't give the Levi. The Levi was punished. So we don't give him his Meiser Rishon. The Rachman Omar, the Levim, Tavim, Chesed Aleph, Banan, Kuyavino Kohanim. So there was a knas not to give the Levi and to give it instead to the Kohen. So therefore I can't say what the pasuk says. The pasuk says give it to Levi. I don't give it to Levi. It says Gemara, at least say the video on everything else. Right? But I did give Meiser Ani, I gave Truma, I gave everything else. Why don't I say the Vida and that? Al Meiser Rishon. If you can't say anything about Meiser Rishon, Shevir Misvada, Al Shar Meiser is my time. Why? If you can't do Meiser Rishon, you can't say anything. The first thing in the pasuk is V'nosata Levi. The Meiser Rishon. If I can't start off on the right foot, don't continue. So I asked the Gemara, it seems like they would set aside the Meiser. The other thing he did was he got rid of the Vidui, and also he said that it's in our Mishnah. Look at the top of Mem Zayin Amud Beis, the top lines over there. It says Mefurish that one of the Xeris was, there's no more Demai. In other words, you don't ask the Amaretz, did you take Trumas and Meisers or not? We don't care. No matter what, you have to assume he didn't, and you have to give the Meisers, not Truma. Sorry, I slipped. Amaretz gives Truma, it's only a Mashu, it's 1%, 2%. We're not, and that they know it's a Deraisa. Fine. So it says over here, oh, so it says Mefurish, he saw that the Amaratzim are not setting aside the Meiser. You assume right? 5 lines earlier. You assume that they did put aside the Trumas, the Meiser Rishon. Over here it says a Mafrishin. They don't. The only thing they do is they give off Truma, which is easy and it's a massive deraisa. U'maiser Rishon, u'maiser Sheni, where you give off the Meiser Rishon, the 10% you give to the Levi. U'maiser Sheni, the 10% you give to yourself. Miktsasam Asrin, some Amaratzim do it. U'miktsasam Ema Asrin. So we don't. It's not so posh. So he went around and he said, listen. You're all familiar, Amaratzim, you all know that if you don't give Truma G'dayla and you eat it, Yechayev Misa, Kach Trumas Meiser V'tevel, Yesh Bain Avoy Misa. When it says Rashi, when you don't give Trumas Meiser, it's really Tevel, meaning you weren't mafresh what you have to give over, and if you eat it, you're Chayev Misa. I want you to know there's no difference not giving the Truma G'dayla to the Kayan and not giving the 10% to the Levi. It's all the same Misa. And therefore, Oma V'iskin Lahem, and he said, Halikech bears Ma'amaretz, Ma'afresh men Meiser Rishon, Meiser Sheni. Just like Yitzchak Churi's brother. Yitzchak, the guy that had a child after 22 years. His brother had a child after 17 or 18 years. Because he went to Rav Chaim Kanievsky and he told him, he doesn't have children. Rav Chaim Kanievsky said, be makpid better on Trumas and Meisers. So as he was leaving, he told me, he said, I thought Rav Chaim Kanievsky is crazy. I take Trumas and Meisers. When I buy it at a kosher store. But then he finds out that the store he buys from, the guy's a real Amaretz, probably not very affiliated, and didn't take Trumas and Meisers. So he was very makbid, and of course, 9 months and a day later, he had a baby boy. Now he has 2 kids, Baruch Hashem. Says the Gemara, I'm kidding about the 9 months. If you're new to this year, I'm kidding. So it says over here, that when you buy from Amaretz, you should set aside your own stuff, your own Meiser. You put aside 10% Meiser Rishon, 10% for Meiser Sheni. What do? You take from the Meiser Rishon as if you pretend you gave it to the Levi, and from that 10% that you didn't give to the Levi, but you pretend you did, Ma'afresh B'mena Trumas Meiser, because the Levi is also mechuyev to take 10% of his 10%, so that you do for yourself, v'noisna l'kayin, and you give that 10% of the 10% to the kayin. And what do you do with the 10% that you take for yourself? You see, since you bought from an Amaretz, now you have to schlep all this stuff up to Yerushalayim. If you don't want to, so you trade it into money, and you take the money up to Yerushalayim. So that's interesting, because Meiser Ani and Meiser Levi and Meiser Rishon, which goes to the Levi, if you give it to the Levi can let you eat it. It's not like Truma G'dayla where you give it to the Kayan, it's only for the Kayan and his family, that's it. Nobody else could eat it. It's Yisrael is now Mimela. What I'm trying to say is that Meiser Rishon, which you give to the Levi and he could give you to eat, you're allowed to eat it right now. If you eat it before you give it to the Levi, you weren't over anything. So what's the problem? The problem is, but you have to give it to the Levi. Well, maybe I don't have to give it to the Levi. Who said I have to give it to the Levi? maybe the guy I bought it from, the Amaritz that I bought it from, he was mafresh already the Meiser Rishon. And if he's mafresh the Meiser Rishon, I don't have to take Meiser Rishon again. It's only a suffix. It's a gzeira. It's a takana. Let the Levi come and prove to me that the guy I bought the fruit from didn't set aside Meiser for the Levi. If he can't prove it, then it's Hamoitzi Mechaveiroi Olavaraya. And the same thing will go to the Ani. Says Gemara. Okay, so the bottom line is, were they mafresh, not mafresh? Is everybody mafresh? Is not everybody mafresh? So what happened there? Says Gemara, Tarte Tiken. There's two takanas over here. Even those who are mafresh, let's say they're mafresh. Let's say the Amaritz sets it aside, but he doesn't give it to the Levi. So that was one takana. Tiken bitel vidui de chaver. He said, you know what? No more vidui, because people are not doing it and they're not giving it to the Levi, so you can't even say vidui. Another thing he said is that if you're buying produce from an Amaretz, and most of them, a lot of them aren't mafresh, then, so two things. The regular people are not giving anything to Levi because this is the takana not to give to Levi. So because this is the takana not to give to Levi, so he said, don't say vidui. Nobody should say vidui, because nobody gives to Levi. So you're not making these psukim. There's another problem, he says, that there's amaratzim that don't do afrasha. They don't remove the 10% to give to Levi b'chalal. They don't even take it off. They don't take it off. The problem is now you can't buy fruit from an amaretz without you being mafresh at 10%. Next, new sugi Rabbi Yisai. Vavu bitel s'ma'orim. He said, there's no more ma'orim. My ma'orim, what does that mean? Omer achava, b'chol yoyim v'yoyim, shoyoyim dim, levim al duchim v'yoyim, ura, lo masishan adonai. Why are you sleeping, Hashem? Telling Hashem, why are you sleeping? What does that mean? Is that me? Oh, Givaldim. Yeah, it's good to call in the middle of the shir. Nisano, you still want to listen to the shir live on the phone? Or you just want to be on the video? Say hello to the Olam. Why are you laughing?
Well, I know. Let's change it.
Okay.
When did you start listening to the shit?
Maybe you recruit him. Some people, they're too busy to learn. I tried. He's a tough one. You know what he did? He made a deal with my son, Elazar, that they're both going to learn Masechta Sotah. Lazi finished. He left him at Daf Gimel. What do you say? Ura kvoidi. Hakadosh Baruch Hu, wake up. All right. Isn't it like? I think Ura, the organization, I think is based on this pasuk. The mamish now. The raffle is coming up any day now. I'm not trying to plug him or anything. I'm just saying. Ma'is Shaya. When Klal Yisrael is in pain, they're in Golos. As if he's telling Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Could somebody tell Gary that we hear him here?
Gary, we hear you.
He doesn't. It's good. It's not Motzi Shabbos, Gary. It's just a regular day. So, Ura, you're saying Kaviyach the Rebbeinu Shalom, look at us. It's as if you're sleeping. Look what you did. You left us in Golos for thousands of years. Kaviyach, wake up. So that, he said, no good. Don't do. But it comes out that Bizman Hazeh, it wouldn't be such a big problem. The problem is when you have the Beis Hamikdash and everything's going good, it doesn't sound good. You don't tell Hakadosh Baruch Hu, wake up when but in Golos it seems like you could say Ves hanoikvim, my noikvim, they were vatal the noikvim. Omer Rav Yidam Shmuel shoyim misartin leigel ben karnov k'dei shipol dam beinov. As you bring a large animal, right? And these animals, I can tell you from experience, very, very difficult to shecht an animal like that. So you have to knock it down to the ground, and even on the ground, it's a tsar tzura to that it shouldn't injure you after the shechita. Today they have these $100,000 boxes. They're called a box. They cost, the cheap ones are like 100. Sometimes they're 150. Hydraulic boxes, grab the cow, flip him over, shech, they can't move. Okay. But in those days, what they did was they would cut its head, so blood would drip off its head into the eyes, blind him, shock him, knock him down, get him when he's blind. So he said, it's not a good minute. Also, you bottle mishum the mechze be kimuma, so he's mevatel this minute because it looks as if he has a mum, he's bleeding. They had another sheet, they'd take a stick and beat him on the head. Like they would do for Avodah Zarah. You might injure, you might give him a little concussion, and that's as if you're giving an avela on the mizbeach. Nevela, you're calling it nevela. You're doing a real shchita. A little treifos. By hitting in the head, shemanika krum shel mayach, and that could be a treifa, not a nevela. So therefore, he said that you should have one of these. Now, in the Beis Hamikdash, right behind the mizbeach, they had these rings, and I'll show you a close-up from Kol Shan book on Yuma. So these are the beautiful rings. These rings actually went like a full circle under the ground. What we see is a half a circle. They would open it up, and the animal's head would be caught in it. They would somehow get the animal down, either knock it out like we just saw with the blood, and then put the head in there and lock it. Once it's locked, the animal can't do anything, and then you can shecht it. So until his days, you were allowed to work on Cholamayid. When we were learning, I forgot, it was probably Yuma, we spoke the entire Masechta about how we have to be makbid not to work on Cholamayid. The whole Masechta is about the Isser to work on Cholamayid. The Cholamayid is no different than Yantiv. It's a real Yantiv. Just we're allowed what? Wait, Katan, thank you. Makes sense. But I don't have to be embarrassed because some of the guys in the Koil that took the 1200 daf test, they're so confused now between Masechtas because they learned everything in one shot that it just became one big Masechta. That's not my excuse. Even without that, I'm saying there's such a thing. Even the guys that were really good and they're able to tell you it's in this Masechta, that Masechta, like Leiby, boom, it became like one mishkamach. Okay, fine. So, but the concept called Dover Ovid. Like in America, everything is Dover Ovid. You know, like, the sale is going to be over after Pesach, so let's go on Cholamayid right now. We got to buy. What are you buying? It's a Dover Ovid. If there's no sale, yes, but last year there was a sale, this year, and also the sales Nimshach. Kids, they have a lot of excuses.
Buying does not work.
Yeah, going, yeah. Purchase, yeah, why? You're allowed to buy on Shabbos.
It's the opposite of work.
I'm just saying, like, even writing with a pen is a big problem. There's different Neterim for this, and Dover Ovid, and for Torah. But Melacha, going out and doing, it was a chiddush to us when we were learning it. So, to bang with a hammer as a blacksmith and make tremendous amount of noise, with the whole Yerushalayim hears you, you're not allowed to do it. He said, if Dover Ovid, you're allowed to. He said, that's it, enough. Atkan, it's already, this is a big bizarre for Yontif. We're not banging with hammers that everybody can hear. And he said, that's it. When you buy from Amaris, you have to take Trumas and Maisros, because Amar, like we had the whole sugya earlier, why you do it, because a lot of them don't take Trumas and Maisros, and therefore you have to be mak. Says the Eli and Marni sponsored by Moshe Cohen, l'schus limadat Torah ha'atzlacha and pernasa, and nachas from all the kids. Mishe batal Sanhedrin batal hashir mebeis hamishtais. Rabbi Eli, this is a very, very difficult halacha. I didn't look into it a lot or any because of the Azman Kotzer V'Malachim Meruba. Just understand that this mission is not a joke, and it's very hard to find the heter why we today listen to all this beautiful music that we have. Where does it come from, this heter? So you have to look into it and understand. It seems like from the sugya, when you go through the sugya, of course you can't paskin based on the sugya, but it seems like from the sugya that if you're listening to music for no good reason, it doesn't motivate you for exercise, you're not a depressed person, you want to listen to music, geschmack, you put it on your whole house. In Chicago, in our house, we have speakers everywhere, so you can put a CD in. Where's the heter? What's the heter? Stand to listen to music. It seems like this tremendous chumrah, crazy, fanatic chumrah. But it starts over here. You can't sing and you can't play music in the Beis HaMishtais, in the with this wine. Shenemar Bashir la yishtu yayin. It says in the pasuk, you shouldn't drink wine together with music. So we're going to see a couple of aterim, a couple of situations that's mutter. But where do we get the heter? I'm sure people will send in some emails, and I'm looking forward to some geshmaka reasons. Because recently, in the last few years, maybe as you get older, maybe it's everybody, maybe it's just me. My big cheshek for music, I used to listen day and night and blow my ears off and the whole thing. I don't think I listened to music in a long time. But no, it's talking about clay shear, it's talking about singing, it's talking about even a cappella. Even a cappella is a problem. Even a cappella. Obviously, we knew these halachas when we were growing up, but it's like not to get to our dar. Okay, we're all depressed, we're all this, whatever the reasons are. Once the Nevi'im, the first Nevi'im, were nifter, batlu urim v'tumim. Urim v'tumim is something, either it has to do with the chayshin. The Eifai, the chayshin, some say that there's a Shem Hashem in it, some say as is, but you would ask the chayshin a question, and the stones would light up. Like Morse code, this would light up, that, and each stone represented different letters, and that's how you knew what he meant. There's no more room to him. Once the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, Batal HaShomer. Shomer, as we know, was a worm that was created by Ben Ishmashes, and that worm had the ability to cut any hard object, anything. Diamonds, stone, everything. If you have a worm that could cut anything, so how do you keep him safe and he doesn't cut you? Like you put him in a metal cage, he'll cut the cage. You put him in a glass, he'll cut the glass, and it'll come out. I got to tell you this Maisa. Emisa Maisa, you can ask Uri Stern, you can ask the guys from the Shir that do our Shir from Ramat Eshkol.
There was a huge spider in Shul on Shabbos. Could have been even a tarantula. I never saw a spider that big. It was really, 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 really big. We've never seen that before. Could be that it comes when Eli comes. I'm not sure. Maybe he tracks these things.
I was davening in Ramat Eshkol, and I felt something squish under my foot. I looked down, and there was a tarantula. I've never seen one in my life. A tarantula this big. Mamish. Not magzim. A black tarantula that I crushed its legs. Baruch Hashem, I didn't kill it on Shabbos, but I paralyzed it. He couldn't move anymore. And then a guy came, and the whole place went crazy. Everybody said they've never seen that. I said, yeah, there's a bunch of them in that area. Nobody's ever seen it. Okay. Huh? I don't know what they do. I don't know if they're dangerous, they're not dangerous. But I forgot to say machalach kind of thing. I was in shock. Yeah. He should be Michael me, you're saying. Very good. What happened was, in a different Gilgal, he crushed my feet in an accent or something. So now he came back as a tarantula. What's noifes tzufim? Here are two words that we might learn pshat today. Those who believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu are done. There's no more chasidim. There's no day that there's no curse. He's going to tell us every day the curse is even bigger than the day before. No more tal of bracha. Rabbi said, this is very interesting because just this week, Noam Fix told me the same words, the exact same words that my daughter and my son-in-law told me. And that is that when they went to Hawaii, no one was talking about Costa Rica. And my daughter went to Hawaii. She said that they ate a pineapple that they've never tasted in their life. It makes the pineapple that we have in Eretz Yisrael and in America the most bland fruit you've ever tasted. It was so and the way that they both described it, two different people from there, so unbelievable. And people are carrying these pineapples out of Hawaii. They come in these boxes, 3 in a box, and that's the whole. So you see from here that fruit used to have a different flavor.
Shlomi Klein getting the pineapples out as well.
Yeah, Shlomi Klein has very good fruit. But you're talking about what they sell in America, which is taka, very good, dole, whatever. And we're talking about a whole different level. Mamish, a different level. So I'm trying to tell you that what we think is so gewaldig, even that is not gewaldig. Okay. V'nitotam peiros. Fruit doesn't have the same unbelievable flavor that it has. The fat, the Gemara is going to describe a little bit. When people stopped keeping taharas, in other words, not to be tummy when you eat food, that took away the flavor and the smell, which is like one basically. We know that the chush hareach, the smell, helps the flavor. Hamasras not was shoymen adaga. Not giving meiser took away the fat, the oil that's in the grain. People being busy with znus and shafim, kilus hakol, got rid of everything. Says Gemara, how do you know this pasuk that the Mishnah brings about shir lo ishta yayin is talking about Sanhedrin? That has to do with Sanhedrin not being there, and then you can't sing anymore. The Skanim referring to the Sanhedrin, the Shavasu, they're no longer there. Here, no more singing. Udna Deshama Zimra Te'aker. Udna Deshama Zimra Te'aker, an ear that hears singing Te'aker should be ripped off. It's Midah Keneged Midah. What are you using your ear for? You're using your ear to hear music? It should be ripped off. It's one of these, I feel like it's one of these halachas we shouldn't even say Barabba. But we learn everything. It's like, it's impossible. When there's music in a house, churba besifa. So where's the sifa here? Here's the sifa. The threshold. The churban starts from the threshold. Shenemar kol yishoyer bachaloin chorev basaf. Basaf is the threshold. Ki arza eira. Mikey arza eira. Arza is an erez. Erez balvanon yizgeh, like a cedar. Eira is a city, l'chayra. What does it mean? A cedar city? What? A house that has a bunch of cedars, it becomes a city all of a sudden? One house becomes a city. It comes from a lashon, not of a city, but it weakens up. Even if you have a house made out of cedar, it'll fall apart if you listen to music. Don't play music in this house. I wonder, from all the thousands of people that watch the shir, is there going to be a single person that's going to stop listening to music now? Rabbi Goldring, yeah. Oh, very good. Yes. Right. So there are those who say that when you're singing psukim to Hashem, that's a different thing. But stop singing like an English niggin about Shema Yisrael. Oh, maybe, I don't know if that's Hashem. It's like a story of that. We need a Teirim here, and not everybody holds like that either. Yeah.
One of the Olam Habas from the Tzaddikim, one of the levels, is Olam Hanagim.
Right.
Some Tzaddik said, we never teach us the Shankar from the Gina.
Okay. That's very good. But just because it's in Gan Eden, he's saying that there's one of the Gan Edens, according to the Zohar, is the Gan Eden of Negina. Some Sofer really wanted to understand it. That's great, but it doesn't mean you go ahead and sing it against the halacha.
It depends for what you're singing.
Oh, so there's a Teirim, people that are depressed, if it increases productivity, that's okay. But if you're in your car and you're bored, and instead of listening to the daf, you listen to music, we got problems. We're going to see. Yeah, let's go. Let's see what we can come up with. We're trying to come up with a Teirim here. Omer Ravashi. From these psukim, you see that the destruction starts from the threshold of the house. Shenemar chayr basaf. Yukas shar. Omer Ravashi. I saw this shed, and he was goring the walls like a bull in a china shop. Here. So on Agade, a boat. So these people would schlep these boats. It's a very, very laborious thing. So they would sing songs, like in the army. I don't know if you ever saw, like they march and they sing a niggin. Why? Because it motivates the troops. Over here, he's mamash schlepping something that weighs 100 times more, 1,000 times more than him. So they need to give him a little chizuk. So he's okay. That's good. With bakare and animals, in other words, plowing a field, Shari says Rashi, an unbelievable thing, that animals like music. You know, scientifically now they're saying this, even plants like music. Sometimes they say you put some Beethoven next to your plant, they'll start growing. Estrogen that were grown through music, Hasidic music, the oil of Anagina. Fine. Akoponim, the plowers, when they want to go straight, they need to motivate these animals, and they give them a little bit of a nigun. They sing to them, and that's okay. Says the Gemara, listen to this. You're not going to like this one. The Gardai, but if you weave, you're spinning string, yarn, or whatever it is, which the Gemara always tells us it's the easiest. It's like, the cheap, the least labor. So you have no reason to listen to music. Stam to move time along. That's not a good reason for you to listen to music and to sing. The Gardai Asir. You hear this? It doesn't help me, Rabbi Goldring. It says if you're Gardai, you can't bring the Chassam Sofer into the picture. Ravuna Batal Zimra. Ravuna said no more. Yeah.
Rashi says what's Gardai? It's a slave.
Huh?
Rashi says.
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't need it to motivate them. They're not doing anything. So why are they listening to music? For pleasure. Schoik. I don't think it means like tzonis.
There's pleasure and there's to be in a good mood. To be in a good mood is not pleasure. It's a chiyuv to be in a good mood.
Okay.
Not to be balanced.
Okay. You'll write me in a good Geshmaki email why it's mutter. Ravuna Batal Zimra. Ravuna said no more singing. Because they got rid of the oil Hanagina. So look what happened. The tremendous amount of shefa that came down to the city. You could buy 100 geese for nothing, for peanuts. And you couldn't. It was without limit. Also, Rav Chizda Zalzabei. Rav Chizda was mizalzel in this halach. In other words, this Rashi, he didn't say not to. He didn't tell people to listen to music. But whoever listened to music, he didn't put him in chayrim. That was the zilzal. One goose cost a zuz, not 100. One in 100 times, and you couldn't even find one. You couldn't even purchase one, even if you wanted. The shefa went away. In other words, listening to music takes away from the shefa, says the Gemara. Or Rav Yosef Zamri Gavri Voni Noshe. If men sing and women answer pritzusa, it's not sneers, right? First of all, Kol Bisha Erva, it's pritzus. Zamri Noshe Voni Gavri. What if women they say the first part? Voni Gavri and the men answer the women. Ke'eish ben oiris. It's worse. It's like fire and flax. It'll burn it completely. What's the difference? It's pritzus, it's H ben oiris. If you have two things that you can take care of, you're a Rav. You have to pick your fights. What fight should you pick? It's worse if the women sing it and the men answer, because then the men have to pay attention to every word the women are saying. And that becomes pros, that becomes the over on Kol Isha. If the men say it, they don't have to pay attention. They're saying it, and women answer. Okay, that's a little less. What about Vatasher Dvaira? Without getting into too much, Vatasher Dvaira seems like maybe she didn't sing, because it says the Klal Yisrael answered her. Maybe she didn't sing. Maybe the Litvaks like to say Gezokta Niggin. she said the Niggin, whatever that means. Okay, fine. Omer b'yochanan kol hashoyse b'arba minei zemer. Maybe Chamish Puronis Loylam. I don't know. It's not so. That's Miriam. But that's Miriam, no? Yeah. Oh, by Miriam. Miriam only. Yeah. Says the Gemara, when you drink with the 4 different types of singing, maybe Chamish Puronis Loylam brings 5. Calamities. How do you say piranhas in English? Shenamar, hoi, mashkime baboiker, shecher yidoifu, noirvain. Guy wakes up in the morning, first thing he does is he reaches for his beer. Machrei ben eshef, yayin adlike. At night he's drinking wine. He starts off the day, but Kitzer, like Daf Yomi, Kilo, Kavyachal, Elef, the morning is beer, and the evening is wine. Kitzer, like a sandwich is the day. We do it Torah. No good. V'ayir kino over nevel, toy v'chol v'yayim mishteyim, it's par Hashem lo yabitu. Shbarach's creation, they don't notice, they don't see. Maksiv achro. What does it say after? Lochein gola ami mibli daas. That's why this golas. Shigarim golas loyam. These people are causing they have a neva of a type, they have the music going and they're drinking the wine and the beer, that causes golas. Uchvoidoi mesei rav, shemivim rav loyam, they bring famine to the world. Va'amana tzichei tzama. Shigarim la Torah, shetishkach miloim. People forget the Torah because of them. Vayisha chodam vayish balish shigarim shiflus l'sari shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Again, this is lashon nekiya. They're putting down HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ve'ein ish el HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenema Hashem yishmucham. Ve'ein goyim dishpalno shigarim shiflus shel Yisrael. They bring down Klal Yisrael. Umaksiv achrav lochein rechiva sha'ol nafsho fora pia livli chayk v'yorad hadora v'hamoino u'shoino v'oleis ba. So Sha'ol, Gehenna is going to open up its mouth, and that's where these people belong in the Gehenna. Sponsored by Greg Haber for Bracha, Tzalcha, Parnasa, Beriut, for my entire family, Rav Eli, and everyone learning the Daf. So if you thought that because there's no emails, you skipped the emails, you went straight to the Daf, you're going to avoid this, I'm telling you right now that I'm coming to New York with Gershom Ben Moshe, with Tomer Levi, and I expect to see you there because it will be a tremendous chizuk for Klal Yisrael, for all the Lemdi Adaf, all the people. Can imagine 1,000 people in a room, maybe even more, at least 1,000, singing and fabrengen and getting to know each other and seeing the mishpacha. It's different. You go to a chasana, you sit at a table, so some of the people are from the Kala side, some of the chassan, some of the chassan's parents. Over here, we're all from the same mishpacha. We're all doing the same exact thing. We know a lot of us know each other and this and that. I'm not going to be there, unfortunately, but we know Mark. We know he's going to be there. Kitzer, it's going to be Gevaldik. I'll see you there. Well, how does it go? Let's see if we know. Wednesday night in Borough Park, Thursday night in Muncie, Friday afternoon at YCQ in the elementary school in Queens. Motzei Shabbos in the Whitechapel at 11 o'clock. And Sunday in Ir HaKodesh, Lakewood, New Jersey.
How does someone register?
Huh?
How does someone register?
How does somebody register, Yosef?
Oh, you don't know?
MDY Live. No, it's like it's a Naya.
Daf Yomi Live. Yeah, like this.
Okay. Now Nisanel doesn't have to call me. He called you to... It says that once the Nevi'im were nifter, there's no more Urim and Tumim. You have a question? It's much like Nevuah. You go to the Urim and Tumim, you say, what should I do? Should I make a right turn? We had once in the Gemara, I forgot where it was, that they asked even a silly question, like something that wasn't like important to Klal Yisrael, if I'm not mistaken. So the Gemara, who are these Nevi'im Rishonim? Omer Avon is a David, Ushmuel, Shloimeh. Shmuel, David, and Shloimeh. These three Gdoilei Olam. These are the when they were nifter, no more room to them. Menachem Omar b'mei David, zinin salik v'zinin loy salik. Not true. Sometimes the room to him worked, sometimes didn't work. Sharishal salik v'alsaloi. So it's talking about when David was running away from his son Avshalom. Terrible story. So he had one thing going for him. He had a few things, but he had the Urim v'tumim. Okay, you can't beat that. So you can ask the Urim v'tumim. Should I make a right turn? Should I make a left? Should I hide here? You can do whatever you want. But he wasn't the Kohen Gadol, so he told. It's interesting. You see that there was Kohen Gadol even though there was no Beis Mikdash. He told Evyasar, no, say something. Nothing. So he just gave it to Tzaddik. And Tzaddik was able to communicate with the Urim Tumim. So you see, some things it worked, some things it didn't work. And then he said, David HaMelech demoted him. He said, listen, if you can't communicate with the Urim Tumim, you're no longer Kohen Gadol, I'm giving it to Tzaddik, get out of here. I think he was from Eli, if I'm not mistaken, and that's why, like Mishpachas Eli, fine. But don't quote me on that. Sharei Shal Tzadik V'Alsalai, Shal Evyasar V'Lo Yalsalai. Didn't work for Evyasar. Shenem Aviyal Evyasar, V'Yal Evyasar. Okay. Masav Rabbi Shmuel, Vahi Lidrosh Elikim, Kol Yemei Zechariah Mevin B'Rois Elikim. So the Gemara asks, Vahi Lidrosh Elikim. They went to speak by Uzziah, they went to speak to the Urim Tumim l'chayra. And this is by Zechariah, which is 150 years after Shlomo HaMelech. So you see that there was Urim Tumim after these. If you consider these the Nevi'im Rishayim, David, Shlomo, and Shmuel, the Nevi'im Rishayim, and after that there's no more Urim Tumim, so how is it possible that 150 years later they're using the Urim Tumim? What does it mean? Lidrish Elikim, my lab Urim Tumim? Loi, Benavim. There was no Urim Tumim. So how did they seek Hashem? Through the Nevi'im. Tashma. Mishachar Beis HaMikdash, Rishon, Batlu, Ari Migrash. There's no more Ari Miklat. Upasku Urim Tumim. So when the Beis HaMikdash, you see, so over here it says the Urim Tumim went all the way to the end of Bais Rishon. When did Shlomo HaMelech live? He made the Bais Rishon. So in other words, he was nifter all the way in the beginning of the Bais Rishon. 375 years before the Churban. Well, Pasuk Melech Beis David, there's no more. Vim Lach Shalom Loimar Vim Hatir Shasa. If Nechemia said, "Loim Asher Yochim Kodesh Gadashim Adamoid Kohen Lurim V'Tumim." And Marloi Kodim Shemil Chaveroi Achiyichu. In other words, not hey, let's just wait. Let's go to the Urim Tumim and hear what he has to say. In other words, that the Urim Tumim is still there. No, it means to say like, let's just wait until Tchias HaMeisim. It's so far fetched. We don't have the Urim V'Tumim. That's what he's trying to say. Not go to the Urim V'Tumim and ask the Urim V'Tumim. He's just saying, unfortunately, we don't have the Urim V'Tumim. You're gonna have to wait a little bit until Mashiach comes. And more like, who are the Nevi'im Rishonim? Apukim Mechagi Zechariah Malachi. Dachronim Ninu. It means Chagai Malachi Zechariah are the Achronim. Chagai Zechariah Malachi lived, they were part of the Anshe Knesses HaGdoila, and they lived in the second Beis HaMikdash, in the time of the second Beis HaMikdash. Again, so Chagai Zechariah did the last Nevi'im, they're from the Anshe Knesses HaGdoila, and they lived in the Bayis Sheni. So what? The beginning of the Bayis Sheni. So everything before them is considered Rishonim. That's it. So the beginning of Bayis Sheni was done with the big Ruach HaKodesh. They use something called the Baskel, similar but not the same. They were sitting in Guria's house, in the attic. The Chachamim. Baskel came down and said, there's somebody within you that he could have the Shekhinah right now. It's not his fault. The generation is not Roy. And this is the time of the Tanoim. Nothing the name Bihila Azakim. It was referring to Hillel. Ukshemeis, when Hillel was Nifter, Spidu, hey Chassid, hey Anav. To have the Shekhinah to rest on you, you have to be an Anav. You have to be humble, like Moshe Rabbeinu, to be Anav. And everybody knows that Hillel was the epitome of Anava. Talmid Shel Ezra, he followed in the footsteps of Ezra. Another time there's a Baskel. There's somebody there. He's also a big Anav. He follows in the footsteps of Hillel. So when Shmuel had Nevuah, a little bit of Nevuah, that what? He said he was referring to the Asari Arugim Malchus. And he said, Shimon, which means Reb Shimon Gamliel, Vishmael, Lecharba, right? Adira Torah Zilvanoin, the Asari Arugim Malchus, when we say it on Yom Kippur and on Tisha B'Av, when we say it, both, we cry. So one of the saddest things, unbelievable, Rashi brings it over, Rashi says that they died a terrible death. Like, B'masreikos shel barzel, they ripped Rebbe Akiva's skin off when they put him on the fire, or 350 arrows in this one, or B'kitzer, the worst misas imaginable to our G'dayli Olam. Ushar Amal Leviza, Va'akin Zgin Atidin, and terrible calamities. Lemesei Alama are going to come on the nation. They want to say this hesped. You can't give a hesped on someone that just got killed by the king because you're going to say he's such a great person, which he is. He's the chassid Anav. He's the enemy of the king. The king just killed him. So you're poking fun at the king. The king could take revenge on you. So there's no no espedim, unfortunately, for Arugim Malchus. This worm cut the stones for the Beis Hamikdash. Literally, like it says in the pasuk, Rabbi Yehuda. Now what? They use the shomer to take the stones out of the mountain, and they use it for the Beis Hamikdash. It's not true. They used metal on these stones. They filed them down nicely. Look at the kaisel. Good, comes in, nice, whatever, nice stones. But it says that you didn't hear any sound of metal. The metal was in the factory. When they brought it to the Beis Hamikdash, it was quiet, no metal. You don't bring metal, you don't bring a killing machine, a device that causes death into Beis Hamikdash. All my Rebbe, near the Rebbe Huda, Bavnei Migdash, I like what Rav Eli said, that they used the shomer for the stones of the Beis Hamikdash. When it came to the palace of Shlomo HaMelech, they used metal. But according to Rav Nechemia, says Rashi, it says in Gitin that how did they get the shomer? All of a sudden it popped in. Like, where did it come from? Shlomo HaMelech, what's the word? He got Ashmedai to do the job for him. Ashmedai was a shed. He made a deal with him. Hey, get me the shomer. So he got him. He enlisted. That was the word I was looking for. He enlisted Ashmedai. But what was the purpose? Asked the Gemara. According to you, that they didn't use in the Beis Hamikdash, what was so important to get the shomer from Ben Hashmashas and Sheishis Mebereshis? I'll tell you why. These stones, meaning the chayshin and the ephod, you see that the top part, the purple, goes on the shoulders of the Kohen Gadol, and those were engraved with the shvatim, with the 12 shvatim. How did you get them in there? We have a problem. When you engrave, you can't have any of the stone missing. You have to engrave it in a way that nothing goes missing. How is it possible to engrave it like that? That's problem number one. Says the Gemara, you can't use a tool. They have to be full. What you do is you just sketch it with ink, like a pencil. You pencil it in, and you show it to the worm, the shomer. They pop open where the words are. When you have a fig that pops open from the sun or whatever, nothing went missing from the fig. It just opened up. It's like a person opening up his mouth. Nothing went missing from his mouth. So the stone opened up and said Aleph. It shows Aleph, but it basically split open without losing any of the material. If you weighed it before and it weighed 5 grams, it's going to continue weighing 5 grams because nothing's missing from it. Whereas if you took a chisel and you started chiseling it, it's going to weigh 3 grams now. Like dry ground that just pops open. This worm is the size of barley. It could cut any material in the world, any strong material. So how do you keep it from running away? So you put in something soft. So you put in a tube made out of lead, and inside the lead you have a bunch of barley, and that's how. And you put it within soft wool, and that's how you keep it. I was telling my chavrusa, but now I'm starting to doubt myself because he said it's impossible. I'm pretty sure when I was doing construction, I don't think that I myself, but I remember seeing like a blade that cut like marble. I'm pretty sure the blade that cut marble, if you put your finger on it, it wouldn't cut your finger, but it cut marble. So, what? Diamonds. So I don't remember. I remember seeing. I have to. Now he doubted me, so now I have to look it up again. Because I remember seeing people like their finger would go, nothing happened. They're like wouldn't cut soft flesh, but it cut very hard material. Whatever that blade is, I have to look it up. Okay. Oh, that's a good, very good. I've never had that, but you're saying. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what this tool is also. but it could cut a very tough material. So here you have something that could cut a very tough thing, like a cast, but it doesn't cut your hand. I'm not saying that that's what it was. I remember it spinning. It was a smooth blade. It wasn't like, it looked smooth to the eye, but it was able to cut certain material and not the finger. Omer Bami. But maybe it was a vibrator. Maybe that's the pshat. Omer Bami. What?
That titanium drill bit can go into marble.
Yeah.
Especially made for
No, but it won't go through your finger.
No, I mean, of course it's
I'm talking about something that doesn't really cut your finger off, but it cuts marble. It cuts something like that. Omer Bami. Mishchar Mikdash Rishon Bata Shira Paranda. Shira is silk. The famous Paranda silk is gone. Uschuch is levara and white glass. In other words, the beautiful things, without the Mikdash, you don't have these beautiful things. Tani Nami Achi. Mishchar Mikdash Rishon Bata Shira Paranda Uschuch is levara. Verechev Barzel. And the metal chariot cars, no more cars. Yeshoimrim, Aviyain Karish Haba, Misnir, Hadoime, Ki Gulit Vela, and this congealed wine that comes from Snir that's similar to Igulit Vela. We had this picture, it's an amazing picture. This was over 3,000 years old. They found this thing that had Igulit Vela inside. You look inside, this is all put together. They found this whole thing, Mamish Igulit Vela, like the Gemara describes, like they would put them one on a string. Igulit Vela. V'noifet Sufim. My Noifet Sufim, Rabbi said, what's Noifet Sufim, Rav? The point of this Gemara is that the flour was so rich with like oil that it would get stuck on the sides. It was a different type of flour than we're used to today. So it was so thick, like with as if you added oil and eggs and all that stuff. That's how thick it was, like a real dough. That's how the flour came. It's like dough made out of honey and oil. Here's a tanur. So if you put a flatbread like a lafa they have it today in Israel, you put it on one side, but you put it on the other side. The dough was so rich that they would meet in the middle. They would blow up and meet in the middle. This is honey that comes from tzifya. My mashma, the briyasa, these bees, they're flying in the world. They bring the honey from the grass of the mountain. You remember this Gemara? If you take a liquid and you pour it from a tar, it's a tar, and you pour it into something tameh, the liquid does not create one continuous, it's not a salad. So the liquid that falls into the tameh and touches the tameh has nothing to do with the liquid that's coming out of the bottle now. Pour grape juice, even though it's one stream, but it's not. Besides this, besides the honey, this very different type of honey, a thick honey, since when you stop pouring it, it jumps backwards, pulls back, so that means that it's like a salad, and it creates a bridge between the tar and the tameh, and everything in the upper vessel becomes tameh through that bridge because it's so thick. It's so thick that you could be mizayef. How do you say mizayef? You could forge it. You could put in water and wine, and nobody will know the difference. Nobody will know that you watered it down. It's so thick. This is it's a very similar thing we have. David, my zifin. Over there also they ask what zifin. These are people that have forged their words. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Don't drop out of the shir yet. Give us a little chance. The background might be a little different, and the mood might be a little different. The people are different, but the Torah is the same. Hang in there. Shkoyach. Wish me luck. Daven for me that everything be true good, and that Gershon should get there and come back in room, please. Shkoyach. Stick in there.